this so clearly because I came to Germany when I was 16, and I remember starting to journal consistently like 1 or 2 years prior to that. And by consistently, I do not mean that I journal every day. For me, it is very natural. If I have a lot on my mind, then I would write, and then sometimes, weeks would go by and I am like too busy, or I just, have a boring life and have nothing to write. But because I've been journaling for so long, I have noticed it is really interesting to read back what you have written, and that's why I often tell myself, take the time, take the 40-50 minutes out of the day to journal, because later in 10 or 20 years it will be so fun to read what you have written. And I have to say, some of the stuff that I have written when I was younger was like so cringy, like not necessarily cringy in the sense that what I did was cringy. It was more like, the language when, was so childlike. But yeah. And another thing to notice is that I personally also put in a lot of, reading, journaling into my personal journal as well, because sometimes I feel like it resonates with me so well, and it's better than my own words, if that makes sense. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin. I hope it relaxes you. Okay, so I started with this journal from the 14th of February 2021, and it's such a long time ago, so I have no idea what I've written back then, and also we will just see how long I'm going to read from this journal. Probably would make a 30 to 40 minutes long video, so let's see. Okay, so on the 14th of February 2021, like more than a year ago, I wrote, "As of today, we are still in lockdown, which has already been prolonged to March the 7th. As of this time, I have bad days where I am not motivated or feel lost, but I also have a lot of time where I feel very lucky to be where I am. I know I could feel anxious about being a woman in her mid-20s, which I may talk about later, but at the same time, I know that I may never have so much time on my hand again to read so many books, to learn French, or to prepare myself coffee, tea, and hot water for some journaling and me time like this. Although, to be honest, all I seem to have now is me time. I intend to use this notebook as mainly book review entries. Today I want to write about Hidden Valley Road and MH Elementation. Okay. So first of all, I did not only use this as the reading journal, and MH, I think, stands for Michael Houellebecq, so a French author. And yeah, anyways, then I said, I am over 1/3 through Hidden Valley Road. This book is a non-fiction telling a story of an unconventional family, which is the Govin family. The Govins, so like the parents are called Mimi and Don. They started to have their first child in the 1940s, and their 12th in the 1960s, and 6 out of the 10 Govin boys fell ill one after another, specifically to schizophrenia humans with flaws, but without demonizing them, and also explained our history of understandings into the human mind throughout centuries, which is very eye-opening and makes me think a lot, especially because I am a medical student in my 4th year and already have what I think to be a quite good education into the topic psychiatry than most people. At least it felt to me like a big chunk of our time is given to psychiatry in our curriculum, and compared to that, we have far less time for internal medicine. Okay, we don't need to get very deep into that, but that's true. And yet I still didn't know that for the first half of the 20th century, the doctors weren't sure that what caused schizophrenia at all. Far worse, there are so many people who feel like the schizophrenic mother, i.e. a mother who is overly strict, or a perfectionist who is overly controlling of her kids and husband, but at the same time distant and showed her kids little to no affection. While this might have been an interesting idea, just like Sigmund Freud, and all his theories that try to tie mental illness to some early developmental failures, specifically of sexual nature, but we all know today it's far more complex than that. True, in hindsight, one is always smarter, and all these psychologists, or researchers have contributed to our understanding of mental diseases today, but I wish people could have been more modest and willing to accept that maybe their ideas are not the whole truth. So I think I wrote these passages mainly because in the books, the mother of the boys were portrayed or were like treated like this bad person, and all because of her being cold and to her children, like they fell ill and get schizophrenia, which it's not the case at all. And it is horrible for a mother to think that it's all her fault that her children are ill. And let's continue. With that being said, I don't think the parents are completely blameless. The Coffin family is not what I imagined them to be. Going into the book, I thought they would be very religious, probably poor and not well-educated people. Instead, Mimi, so the mother, was a ballet and art lover, had always dreamed of social status. And Don, like the father, who went to the Second World War Navy and joined the Air Force, never gave up his dream to get his PhD in political science, and did so when he was 44. However, being very Catholic and somehow fixated and very proud of her fertility, they just kept having children, the last 6 against the doctor's advice. I'm deeply frustrated because me at 25, or even before that, know that you only have so much time, and divide all that to 12 children it is bond, that each of them would not have gotten enough love and attention for them that a child required to become a mentally stable adult. Let's not get too deep into that, but anyways, it's quite frustrating if people say because of religious reasons they cannot stop having children, and then do not give the children enough July 2021, I copied this passage out of Die Geschichte eines neuen Namens by Elena Ferrante. Ich verstand, dass sie, egal wie sehr sie sich schlug, sich bemühte und laut wurde, keinen Ausweg fand. Seit dem Tag ihrer Hochzeit quälte sie ein wachsendes, immer schlechter gebändigtes Unglück, und das tat mir leid. Ich bat sie, sich zu beruhigen. Sie nickte. Du musst versuchen, ruhig zu bleiben. Hilf mir. Wie denn? Bleib in meiner Nähe. Aber das bin ich ja. Das stimmt nicht. Ich verrate dir alle meine Geheimnisse, sogar die schlimmsten. Aber du erzählst mir fast nichts von dir. Du irrst dich. Du bist der einzige Mensch, vor dem ich keine Geheimnisse habe. Sie schüttelte energisch den Kopf und sagte, auch wenn du besser bist als ich, auch wenn du mehr weißt als ich, verlass mich nicht. So yeah, I guess you need a little bit of a context for this passage. I just find it so moving. It's like about this famous friendship between Lila and Elena, and Lila being the very smart girl and very rebellious, and her family and Elena's family, they are both from Annapolis in Italy, and they were born in the 1940s or 50s, can't remember very well, but the family of Lila denied her higher education, and Elena's family, although not supportive, did let her go on studies, so that the girls went on very separate ways, and Lila was even forced to marry at a young age for the apparent gains for the family. And they have a lot of struggles, I think, when they were teenagers, and it is crazy to me, like how free and how little responsibility I bared when I was younger compared to those girls. But you really need to book to understand this, so yeah. Oh, and then there is an entry of 25 things I've learned in 25 years, which was a video idea, but I didn't end up filming it because I was a little bit self-conscious that, like, who am I to give you life advices, but I guess we would read from some of it. So yeah, I said the first thing is a healthy person has 1,000 wishes, but a sick person only has one. I don't know which smart person said this, but my friend actually told me this once when we were going on a walk, and this specific friend got very sick, I think 2 years back, and he has to pause all the studies for 1 year, but he's so strong and he came back, and but at that time, like, we both agreed that we should maybe slow down a little bit and don't care too much about stuff like successful career or to achieve certain goals at a certain age. Instead, we should more just enjoy the current time and take time for ourselves, and because after being so sick for such a long time, you realize that health is like the most important and precious thing that you have to yourself. And then the second thing I learned is your work/career is a marathon, as explanation, I wrote life is very long. I think we should take it easy with career goals, meaning that it doesn't really matter if your colleague or your friend, who's the same age as you, or someone get promoted first. If that means that you have to sacrifice your health or your time spent with people you love to achieve these career goals faster, because think it this way: when you're 80 and look back, does it really matter to you if you get a certain promotion at 30 or 32? Yeah. Because I think I have to keep telling myself that, because in Asian culture it is very much you have to be at this stage of your life, and if you're slower or than other peers, you get a lot of pressure from your families and friends and just from the society in general, such as being married, when you're getting kids, stuff like that. So that's why I think not only with career but also with all the other things, it's really better for your own health, mental space, that you or me just don't take it too seriously and treat it as a marathon. Yeah. And be grateful for what you have will make you a much happy person. I think this is literally one thing that I do practice very well, because I think because I come from China, and China does see a lot of development in the past 20 to 25 years. So when I grew up, but that also means that I do know what it is like to be living in a poor country, in a developing country. For example, when I was a kid, it is not very normal that every family has a car. It's started to become more common when I was 12 or 13, and it was a huge big deal to get the first car in our family. And also when I was 14, I did an exchange program to go to Sweden, and the people there are really rich. To the suburb that I went to, everybody's house they have sauna, and they all have trampoline in front of their house, in their garden, and almost all of them have boats to go sailing, and that was so eye-opening but also shocking to me at the same time, how wealthy people can be. But at the same time, I think I am still so grateful for all the things that I do have, and I think I'm in general very grateful for things that I do have, and for not only materialistic things but also for my family, for the love, support, and understanding they give me. And and I think at the end of this video, maybe I also just want to share what's on my mind. So lately, I think the thing that moves me the most is a documentary by the lovely Maria Koreva, who is I think, is she already a principal dancer, or is she a soloist with the Mariinsky Theater in St. Petersburg? So if you don't know, Mariinsky Theater is one of the best ballet company in the world, and Maria Koreva is a dancer that is very talented and hardworking, and she has her own YouTube channel. And her personality is also so down to earth. She's also always showing gratitude for her teachers, for her partners, like for dancing partners and all that. And I've been following her for almost a year. And yesterday I watched a documentary like of her, which is on her channel, and it is with English translation. So if you guys are interested, just have a watch. And in that video, you basically see how much hardship she went through to get where she is now, because ballet, but also or a lot of other type of sports, if you are competing like on the highest level, it's very competitive, obviously. And especially in disciplines like gymnastics, or we have Winter Olympics now, things like figure skating, and there's programs that require a lot of artistry and beauty in a girl or in a woman. It is super hard physically, and Maria actually had an injury when she was, I think, 14 or 15, where everybody told her, or not everybody, but the doctor told her to just quit ballet because I think her knees have problems and she couldn't be doing ballet anymore, or at the time people thought. And she said she cried so much by herself, and her parents tried to cheer her up, but they cried separately in their bedrooms. And it was like, wow. She mentioned this in her other videos before, but seeing that in the documentary just hit me again. And in that documentary, it also showed like how physically demanding a performance is. You literally lose like more than 3 kilos sometimes after one performance, and you basically go back to your home or to your dorm at 12, and on another day, so like the next day, you have to go back to the ballet classes and to get training again. So when asked how she could keep doing this, she said, if you want to stay at the top, then you cannot be lazy. You have to treat ballet as a lifestyle and not as just a work. And you have to have this kind of dedication, which I think is also so Russian. But anyways, it just really moved me, and I was thinking, I was having so much negative thoughts of being like the work is in medicine being so hard and physically demanding, and you have very little time with your family later, which true are all problems in medicine, but like compared to the ballet dancers, I think we still have so much more freedom and time to ourselves. And also maybe I should also treat being a doctor later as a lifestyle and not just as a job. And that also included of me treating my body really well, prepare it really well for the job, stay healthy and being physically strong, which is also another thing that I'm currently doing. I'm following Fitness KK's program. Like our YouTube channel is completely free, and her program are all really thoughtful and hard. Like, I mean, it's probably different also want to focus more on building more strength. And yeah, I'm sorry this video becomes super rambly. If you do stay to the end,